The millionaire widower had everything money could buy: luxury cars, sprawling mansion, a thriving business, but none of it mattered after losing his beloved wife in a tragic accident. Left alone to raise their twin children, Ava and Elijah, he found himself drowning in grief while trying to comfort two 5-year-olds who didn't understand why their mother would never come back. Each night, the twins cried themselves to sleep. Poor didn't sleep at all, calling out for a mother who could no longer hold them. The father hired every kind of help money could afford: top-tier child psychologists, sleep therapists, nutritionists, sleep therapists, even spiritual healers. But the twins remained restless, plagued by nightmares and a hollow sadness that filled every corner of their ornate nursery. He brought in a line of highly qualified nannies from prestigious agencies, some with Ivy League degrees, others with decades of experience, but none lasted more than a week. The children resisted them all, refusing to be comforted or soothed by strangers who couldn't understand the ache in their little hearts. Just when he was about to give up, a friend from his past reached out with a quiet recommendation: a woman named Miss Tasha. She wasn't from any elite agency. She didn't come with a polished resume or recommendations from high society. No. She was a quiet, middle-aged black woman with kind eyes and a calming presence who had spent her life working with children in underserved communities. The widower was desperate. He didn't care about appearances anymore. The results? He interviewed Miss Tasha on a rainy Tuesday afternoon. She didn't boast or make promises. Instead, she listened carefully, asked thoughtful questions about the twins, and finally said, "Grief is a language, and children often don't know how to speak it. But I do." Intrigued and out of options, he hired her on the spot. The moment Miss Tasha entered the mansion, something shifted. She didn't overwhelm the children with cheeriness or false promises. She sat on the floor at their level, letting them come to her when they were ready. She learned their routines, their favorite colors, the stories their mother used to tell. She asked permission before touching their toys, their blankets, their hair. Slowly, Ava and Elijah began to let her in. But the real change happened. Stormy night, when the twins refused to sleep again, curled up in opposite corners of their room, clinging to their mother's scarf. Their father was away on business, and the household staff had long gone to bed. Miss Tasha sat silently between them, and then did something no one expected. She began to sing. It wasn't a lullaby or a popular children's song. It was an old, spiritual, a song from deep in her childhood, filled with sorrow and hope and warmth. Her voice was low and rich like molasses, and it wrapped around the children like a blanket. She sang of lost loved ones, of comfort, of ancestors watching over them. And then, still singing softly, she knelt by each twin and gently held their hands. Her presence, her voice, her touch broke through something. Ava let out a sob and crawled into Miss Tasha's lap. Elijah followed moments later. He cried, together, finally letting out the pain they had been holding in for months. Miss Tasha held them close, still singing, tears streaming down her own cheeks. That night, for the first time in a long time, the twins fell asleep peacefully in someone's arms. When the father returned the next morning and found all three curled up on the nursery floor, he didn't ask questions. Didn't need to. Thud. The silence in the house felt different, lighter, gentler. From that night on, the twins began to heal. They still missed their mother, of course, but they no longer felt alone in their grief. Miss Tasha stayed, not just as a nanny, but as something more: a healer, a guide, a quiet force of love that money could never buy. And though her act may have seemed simple to some, to those two children, what she did was nothing short of unthinkable. She gave them back their sleep, their trust, and a glimpse of peace in a world that had been turned upside down.